we're going to take a quick look at adding a vendor to Transact. So we go to IC, Vendors, and simply select New. Now, real quick on the discussion of what is a vendor. And you may say, well, I know my vendor is Do It Best, or True Value, or Oracle. But some examples that you may not consider as putting in a vendor into your system that you probably need to is something like Sam's Club or Costco. Maybe you drive down the street, you buy soda in bulk, and you resell it in the store. You should add those folks as vendors in your system. Same thing, we have stores that buy eggs from the local farm down the street and then sell those eggs in the store. Same thing here, you would need to put that local farmer in as a vendor in your system. So now that we're to this screen, the must-haves as far as creating a vendor, you must have a vendor ID and you must have a company name. That's all you need to create one. All these other things you probably should fill out, but if you just want to keep it super simple, maybe it's one of those random examples I spotted earlier about buying eggs from a local farmer. You just need the vendor ID in the company. We're going to step through this page and just sort of highlight some of these fields that you may need to pay attention to. It's our general recommendation that for this account number field, you just look at what your account number is on the bill that you receive from that vendor, and then put that information right here. Default class is something that is rarely used, and you need to keep in mind that if you assign a default class, let's say pets, to a particular vendor, that every single item you import from that vendor will default to that class. Most of the time, that is not what you want to do, and you just want to leave this blank. But in case you have something very specific, a very specific vendor, and it's only for that class, you can set that here. If you have a vendor that has an electronic catalog, either via automatic electronic communication or by you importing the catalog into the e-catalog for a particular vendor, this checkbox must be checked. If it is not, you will not be able to import that vendor's catalog into your electronic catalog. The prefix field comes into use whenever you have a vendor that you're adding that has a similar set of SKUs to another vendor you already have. For example, if you have one of your main vendors, maybe your Do It Best, has 6 digits as the SKU number or the item number, and then you know that you're going to be importing a catalog from another vendor that also has 6-digit SKUs. Now there is a possibility that some of those SKUs will be the same. So to avoid confusion, you could just put a prefix. Maybe it's something like Hillman. You just put an HIL, and when those items are added to the electronic catalog, and then after the catalog to your inventory, when you import them into your inventory, they will have the prefix HIL and then their normal SKU. If you have a direct ship bill to company relationship with a particular vendor, the thing to take note is that the vendor ID has to be the same as the manufacturer ID for the vendor that will be doing the billing. So for example, if we are setting up a new vendor as Sherwin-Williams and we get billed through Do It Best, we would go in here, select Do It Best, but then we would need to make sure that the vendor ID here is the manufacturer ID that Do It Best specifies for Sherwin-Williams. The rest of these fields on this screen are pretty self-explanatory. On the setup, we have the payment terms, and that's the vendor's payment terms for purchases by your company. The paid out expense account, this is just the default general ledger account to post paid out expenses. Here we also have the spot to set up your floor plans, your PartSmart setup, the purchase order export setup if you need to export purchase orders for some reason, to manipulate them in any way, or to fax them for some reason. You need to make sure that you have this field set up, and we will cover that in another video sometime. Moving on down this page, you can put in the website, you have your freight, your handling. We also have a reports tab, which is essentially just all the PO receipts for this particular vendor. And then we have some general notes you can put in. And once you have all the information that you want in about this new vendor, you can simply hit save.